Welcome in. Thanks for stopping by again on such short notice. A little bit of rough around the edges here. Today we are back with another installment of IDP. We have new indie rock slash noise rock slash shoegaze. We also have some pop punk slash power pop, and perhaps some psychedelic music as well as some indie pop. I hope you were able to stuff your, stuff your pie hole with several pounds of turkey for Thanksgiving. Especially if you're a vegetarian. If you're a vegetarian, doubly so. I wouldn't mind some gravy right now. I'm kind of in the mood for a little gravy. But you could probably say that just about any day of the year. If you haven't had enough meat, definitely grab yourself a meat stick, possibly two if you're interested. Go ahead and get nibbling on that, and let's get started. First up this week, we have the second full-length release from a band that call themselves Miners, and their second LP is called A Healthy Future on Earth. Miners, they're another band from Australia. I think Wollongong again, actually. I think that they're friends with the band Chimers, which we discussed last week. This album kind of blends a variety of like 90s indie rock and post-punk kind of styles. It's kind of almost a melodic noise rock album with a bit of shoegaze slash space rock, I guess. It's got a lot of heavy, distorted... It has a lot of heavy, distorted guitars. I hear shades of bands like the Pixies, the band Hum, maybe even a little bit of like that early like Built to Spill or Modest Mouse, just in places. The vocals get kind of absorbed into the, reverby guitar mix. They're kind of buried down. I'd say it does get a little gazy, but it's more like on the space rock, 90s indie rock side. If you're down for that sort of sound, I think this is definitely something that's worth giving a shot. Anyway, this band is called Miners, and their sophomore LP is titled A Healthy Future on Earth, and it's out now on Flesh and Bone Records and Kitty Records, I believe. Next up, we have the third LP from the London-based quartet that's called Fightmilk, one word. The name of their third LP is titled No Souvenirs, and it's their first on Fika recordings. This one is female-fronted melodic pop punk or power pop, depending on how you want to look at it, with big hooks, has, shout-along style vocals, some organ, some synths. It's kind of raw. It's kind of unrelenting. It just kind of keeps hitting. As girl slash boy vocal harmonies, kind of has dueling, heavy, distorted guitars. Just kind of a big sound that doesn't let up for the duration of its 44-minute runtime. Definitely has a sense of humor, and it kind of reminds me a bit of some of the Jeff Rosenstock albums. It's in that kind of vein. Obviously, the vocals are completely different, but it's in that same kind of neighborhood. So certainly fans of that style of music, I think this is one that's worth checking out. So again, the band is called Fightmilk, one word. And the LP is titled No Souvenirs. It's out now on Fika Recording. Now we're back to Australia yet again, this time to Melbourne for a 5-piece psychedelic group, I guess, called Bananagun. And their second LP is titled Why is the Color of the Sky? So Bananagun's first album had kind of a 60s sunshine pop meets Tropicalia, with like Afrobeat rhythms as well. It had a very distinct kind of vibe. This album, their second album, is still kind of resting on that 60s psych garage foundation, but now has kind of more of an improvised jazz and prog and kind of like prismatic psychedelic pop. I would say there's a fair bit, maybe even a lot of flute, some horns. Has a really strong late 60s aesthetic. I feel like there's some tracks that if you heard it when you walked into like a convenience store, if it was playing, you would just think it was a 60s band. It feels very in that time. This one took me at least a few listens before I kind of warmed up to it. I think the prog aspects of it don't always work for me as well, but I think this is quite good for what they're doing. Yeah, so the artist, again, is called Bananagun, and this album is titled Why is the Color of the Sky? It's out on Anti-Fade Records and Full Time Hobby. We're staying in Melbourne for this next one. This is the debut LP from an indie pop group that call themselves The Great Divides with an S. And this album is titled I'm Sure. This is like a very young band, I think pretty much within the last 5 years coming out of high school. Yeah, so they cite their influences as bands like Smog, The Clean, and Crescent. And they kind of define their style as jumble pop. Reminds me a little bit of the band Hefner, has boy-girl vocal harmonies. Most of the vocals are kind of done in kind of a semi-talky style. It's a bit almost like folk rocky. There's some string arrangements, like violin or viola or something like that's fairly prominent. But there's also a lot of varied instrumentation in the mix, like horns. It's has a lo-fi, handmade feel, and very, like, I would say, quirky lyricism. But I like it. Yeah, so a strong indie pop release, debut release. Again, the band is called The Great Divides. They're out in Melbourne, Australia. The album is titled I'm Sure, in parentheses, which is crucial, very crucial. And it's out now on Spoilsport Records.
You died in a house fire made for two, made for two.
Head to Glasgow, Scotland for the 6th LP for the artist that goes by the name Bubblegum Lemonade, and this album is titled Desperately Seeking Sunshine. Bubblegum Lemonade is basically one person. It's Laz McCluskey of the band Strawberry Whiplash. On this LP, another member of Strawberry Whiplash, Sandra, she does backing vocals basically throughout the whole album, and I think that actually is a added bonus here. This is jangle pop with a splash of like pop psych. There's the prominent 12-string guitar, sweet harmonies, very catchy tunes. There's a fair dose of things like glockenspiel, hand claps, tambourines, la-la-las. There's even a bit of electronics as well on some tracks, or maybe on all the tracks, but it's prominent on some of the tracks. There's a couple songs that remind me of bands like The Laws, or even like Casts, obviously the same lineage. And maybe even like early Stone Roses a little bit, at least definitely on one or two songs. Yeah, this is just a fun, infectious, catchy indie pop record. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not, not trying to say anything profound. It's just kind of one of those like good time pop records. And this is one for sure, like the pop kids out there, if you haven't given this one a shot, it's worth checking out for sure. Yeah, again, this band is called, or group, or it's really just an artist called Bubblegum Lemonade. And it's out now on Matinée Records, or Matinée Recordings.